And now, on with the show.
It's Friday. It's Friday stream. Hello, Andrews.
Hey.
Look at you in the studio.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a little while.
It has.
It's good. I'm glad we had an excuse to do it. Elle's here too. Hello, Elle.
Hey, hey.
Hey, hey. Mr. Bacon's here. Hello, Cheese.
Yo, what up?
And last but not least, the one, the only, Wes Payne. Hello, Wes.
Woo!
Happy stream day.
It's Friday. Oh, man. I'm so glad it's Friday. I've had a heck of a week this week, but we'll get into that later. We've got a whole bunch of stuff we can recap here for a little bit. But in the honor of Angela being in studio, I have put together a special intro that I feel like captures Angela's fierceness and also her presence when she's on a mission. So I have put together Angela's official intro to the Friday stream. Ladies and gentlemen, Angela Fisher. Yeah?
Wow.
Yeah, right? It's good.
Totally air guitaring. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, I got an audience assembled
Right?
for you
This
and
is amazing.
everything. We have a lot to get into, but we have limited time with Angela today, and so there's something that we must get to right off the top of the show. You don't mind if we jump right into this, do you?
No.
Fight!
All right. Well, apparently Angela has learned how to take a punch recently, and I want to know all about this. So as soon as she told me I learned how to take a punch, I was like, stop talking.
Yeah. I didn't listen.
You teased me more so, but now I know that now that you've learned to take a punch, I want to know all about this. I assume you went down to the rough streets of Seattle and got in a street fight?
No, I did not. It was just slightly safer, but I actually went this last weekend up to Canada for a martial arts seminar.
Oh, I thought you were going to say to kick ass, because that's what I go to Canada for.
Well, I mean, honestly, I thought ass was going to be kicked. You know, like I wasn't sure exactly what to expect. But of course...
How did you get into this? This is
Well, I would be interested in like a self-defense class, but
sure.
I'm not interested in just hurting other people, right? I'd rather learn from a... I don't know,
skilled people that know how to do it or whatever?
more holistic way, like understanding how my body's going to take the impact, in an attack.
Right. Well, because then if it happens to you, it's not a shock. Like
Right.
You're like, oh, okay, I know what's happening.
Yeah. So this particular martial art focuses on principle versus technique. Technique is what people typically use, learn to, just fight.
Right.
But the principle is like balance, breathing, gravity,
Like keep your head.
awareness, just all these other things.
Don't lose your head when you're in a fight.
Yeah. And just be present. And if you're just like in an accident,
Right.
how drunk drivers tend to be less injured because they're not completely.
Yeah, their body's all loose and they're not
yeah.
like tensed up.
Yeah. It's similar to that. If you can have the presence of mind to relax your body, the impacts are not going to affect you as much.
And so I guess one way to do that would be to take them in a controlled environment. So that way, when you're out in the real world, you're like, okay, I've done this before. I know what this is like.
Right. And then just things to look for, like changes in body language. If I'm walking down the streets of Seattle and I see a guy and he's, looking at me in one way and then all of a sudden it changes, I know that, okay, I need to escape.
Right.
Right. So it's paying
Things
attention.
Signs to look for.
So it was really fun. And the instructor is a Russian.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's a Russian.
Does he have is it a woman or a man?
It's a man.
Does he have a Russian accent?
Yes.
Oh, I love
he's
it.
really hard to understand. But
Why did you have to go to Vancouver?
he is not allowed in the United States.
What?
Yeah, he's not.
What do you
allowed.
mean?
A couple of years ago, he was put on the cannot enter United States list. So
What is he, a
I had
Russian
to go
spy
to-
or something?
Cannot answer that.
Are you? What?
But anyway, so yeah, when I walked in, it was about 100 people, 90 guys, 10 women. I'm the only one wearing makeup. Only one with my nails did, But it was really cool. We started with just basic things like walking around the gym silently and then a little faster, and then running, but at the same fast walking speed. And then we started punching people, and the first punch that happened was actually a guy named Sergey grabbed my arm and punched somebody else with it. That was cool.
What?
Yeah. And then there were just a bunch of exercises where we paired up. We did some knife work with fake knives.
What?
Yeah. And learned how to, deflect the stabbing coming at us. And there was one guy who's like in his 60s. He's like, you need to be easy on me. I just had shoulder surgery 3 months ago. And I was like, okay, well, I'm new as of yesterday to this whole, thing. So we should be fine. Well, in about 2 seconds, I was on my back on the floor.
Whoa.
And just by the way that I went down, my right leg went up, and he grabbed my ankle with his arm around it and yanked it up. Oh. Right? No, it didn't hurt me. But it was right when the instructor had whistled and everybody stopped. And when he grabbed onto my leg and pulled me up.
You farted.
Oh my God, no. Okay. I squealed.
Oh!
I squealed and the whole gym heard it.
Because everybody was quiet.
Yeah, it was really great. He really got me down to the floor fast. So it was really interesting and really cool, and it introduced a lot of basic fundamentals of this particular
So
martial
they hit you
art.
hard?
There was one guy there that hit me too hard twice. Karma got him.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Did he get hit in the nuts?
No, he dislocated his shoulder.
No.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Not by punching me, right? That would be really hard. But I don't know. He punched me in the spine twice.
What?
Yeah. Like
What?
the whole point of this is to, you can't determine where you're going to get hit, but the soft tissue or muscle areas, like that's what you're learning to untense so that you can take the punch. But you can't untense your spine. So anyway,
That's not good.
yeah, that was the only bad part about it. But the rest of it was.
Did you go home sore?
I was sore both. Yeah, it was 2 days in a row, 5 hours each day.
Like, let me get in the bathtub and soak.
Yes, yes.
Wow. So would you consider it a workout too?
This was fairly lower.
Did you feel tough afterwards though?
The first day I sweat a lot. Like everybody was sweaty. So
Did you feel like a badass
better
though?
workout that? Yes. Basically, everybody said they were impressed by the level of skill I had, despite
really?
the fact that it was my first time. Yeah.
What about your squeal?
Yeah, I know, right? Well, and then there's like this weird thing where I worked with an instructor named Tom that he was 3 feet away from me, and he pushed, like when he moved forward, because I was so aware, I moved backwards. I didn't do it intentionally. Like there was some voodoo about it. Like it's really weird.
Yeah.
But that is the level of awareness that you need to have while you're in that was a knife one, knife exercise.
Wow, the knife one.
Yeah.
So when do they teach you how to deflect bullets?
Yeah.
Can you go to that one? Bing, 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 bing. Do them with your wrist. Pachoing. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I could get down for that. Wow.
Yeah,
That's fun.
There was some minimal discussion about how to punch correctly too, and that is, it's the same concept. If you relax yourself in the punch, it will go deeper. So it's not a matter of punching harder. It's deeper and with intent. So and it does make a big difference if you relax right before impact. It just goes right through.
So what you're saying is the trick to kick ass is just be totally chill about kicking ass.
Yeah.
Just kick so much ass that you get it's a normal thing, and then you can
Keep your heart rate down.
get in the zone, do a little meditation, a little pre-kick ass meditation. Well, there you go. Now the audience can't mess with you
Yep.
because now you'll know how to take a punch at least. Do you feel like you know how to give a punch too? Oh wow! All right. Well, that seems like it was worth it.
I punched quite a few guys in the face.
Wow.
Yeah, but the beards.
Oh yeah, what? What about the beards? Is that a good natural? Are you saying I should grow my beard out?
So bushy that I'm like, where's your? Oh, there it is. And so
Like
I
it's
ended
a
up.
cushion?
Yeah, I ended up punching a little too hard a couple times because I didn't understand where the chin started.
There you go, Wes. You better grow out a beard just in case. You never know. Not that I'm saying you're going to need it, but it might be a good idea, just as a defense mechanism. Maybe that's what the beard's for. I've always wondered, what's the point of the beard besides keeping your face warm?
Safety, yeah. I mean, it just makes... I'm going to have to watch myself when I'm around Angela next, too, I think.
Oh, so Angie's got to go soon, but before she goes, I thought we'd do a little stream unboxing. What do you think, Angie? You want to do it?
Oh yeah.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, here in the studio, get ready. We have ourselves a bit of an unboxing. So for the Linux Fest Northwest event coming up, we have some swag. And Angela is sitting in front of that swag right now. Go ahead, Angela. Begin the unboxing process. Let's see what's in the box of Linux Fest Northwest swag.
It's a
Hope
white
it's
box.
spilled right.
We got a small white box. What is it? Come on, bring it out. Bring it out.
Ooh.
Oh, we have ourselves
yeah.
lady. Oh my. Oh, geez. We're gonna have to send a picture to Cheese.
That is
Oh my gosh.
better than I expected.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves quite the swag item. If you're coming to Linux Fest Northwest, this is a limited thing. You have got to get these.
And now, on with the show.
It is a recharge portable battery pack that also includes a phone stand with the new logo on there, and it looks super sharp.
And a belt clip.
Oh yeah, look at that. I didn't see the belt clip in the preview images.
That is cool. And the logo is larger than I...
Yeah. It looks,
I was afraid that it was going to be so small that you wouldn't be able to tell, but it is very loud and clear.
It looks
Jupiter
really good
Broadcasting.
on the brushed aluminum.
Yeah.
That looks really good. Those are a premium
Awesome.
swag item. Nice job there, Cheese. Nice job.
Hello to you.
That's great. That is.
Smoking them meats.
Hello
Zuck
to
wants
you.
one.
He does. Zuck loves them smoked meats, you guys. You know that. Wow, that is definitely some smoked meat right there. That's a premium swag item. That's worth coming to Linux Fest for right there. That's worth the whole trip, I think.
Let me just say, if you haven't joined Telegram and the Jupiter Broadcasting chat room, I just posted a preview picture of it.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh my god.
There you go. Go
I'm
get in
handy.
Go get in there. All right. So, Ange, I got one last song for you before you go. Tell me what you think of this one, okay?
Okay.
This is a little remake of a song you might recognize. I feel like you're going to approve of this one.
I should say I picked this one as well.
Yeah, this is a Cheese original. You recognize it yet? Should be coming to you soon. Brent's already got it, he says.
Should I recognize it?
Yep. Just you will here in a moment if you don't.
Should've got down,
Ah,
Yeah.
baby got 'em open all over town. Strictly biz, don't play around. Cover much ground, getting paid by the pound. Getting paid is a forte, each and every day to play away. I can't get her out of my mind, yo. I think about the girl all the time, yo. Ooh.
Now I was gonna let Angela sneak out of here, but
Okay.
we'll give her a round of applause. Angela, everybody, thank you for making it in studio this week.
yep.
Thank you for being here. Appreciate it.
I like the way I work it.
No diggity.
No
Bye, everyone.
diggity. Yeah.
Thanks for being here.
I
Good
feel
luck.
like the kid embarrassed by their parents now.
Oh yeah. Oh, what's the matter? This is a great song. Come on. You never rocked out to No Diggity?
I don't think I did.
Yeah,
Not in my town.
It might have been. I might have missed it too, but I can still appreciate a classic.
We can all rock out right now.
That's right. Oh my
I got something to
gosh.
say about that song.
Oh yeah. Are you at the bar still, or did you make it back to your place?
I'm at the
my God,
bar
is that
at my
Brent?
home.
Yeah, Brent's at the
A
bar.
little bit different.
Oh, I wish I had one of those. All right, what do you
There's
think?
2 cats here and some water, so it's exciting.
That's a classic, right?
So I recognize that song on the very first drum beat because I was introduced to this is Chet Faker. I was introduced to him very recently,
yeah,
like
yeah.
maybe just a year ago.
Yep.
But that video, I'm gonna put a link in the. I was about to say show notes. That was
IRC.
hilarious. Yeah, I'm gonna put a link in the IRC. But that video, if anybody is really into drumming, which I am, that drummer is amazing. And this was a special sort of, I don't know, live session that they did. It's not their typical drummer, I don't think. But that particular set, there's like 2 or 3 songs that they released there.
Yeah.
It's fabulous.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like takes some of his songs a little bit differently. It's really, really good. So I am impressed that came up. So thank you, Cheese.
I didn't know you were a drumming fan. Do you have some musical skills, or are you just a fan of it? Like, how far does this go?
So I am, that's a great question. So my grandmother was super musical and stuff like that, and forced her kids to be musical, and some of them were, but my father hated it, so he basically didn't introduce us to any musical stuff, but he's a huge music fan, so he introduced me and my brothers to a ton of music and some really eclectic stuff, some classic rock too, like most of us got probably, but these days I'm still sort of voraciously taking in new music all the time, and I get this inkling or this strong desire to pick up an instrument, but I've never done it before. So drums is one of those things that I'm just constantly tapping on everything, and I feel like it's one of the instruments that I should probably pick up first, because I tend to do it naturally anyways. And so I know nothing about it in the sense of, like, I've never really sat down and
but you could visualize yourself.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, totally.
Like
Does anybody else have any musical connections?
I'm wondering.
Chris?
I know Ange does, but I don't. No, I don't. Although I do sometimes get my DJ on the live stream, mix in the RMS.
Oh, yeah, you do. I did band all through high school. I still play a little bit of ukulele from time to time.
Really?
Nice.
The uke? You play a little bit of the uke?
Yeah, well, I played bass guitar a lot more in my youth, so that's my one string instrument I keep around, because it's so small. It's so convenient.
I have a bass
you playing right now.
hanging
It sounds
on the
great.
wall.
It's nice, Wes. This sounds good.
I have a trumpet too, but doesn't see much use in my city apartment.
What about you, Al? You said so. No Diggity wasn't your music growing up. What would you characterize the music of your youth as?
So I grew up in Mexico, so we listened to Tejano and a lot of just kind of folk music there.
Oh, really? I would love to. You got to do the music then one day, just to educate me on that.
Do some old school mariachi music on here?
I would
be
fucking love that. I would fucking love that. We should totally do that. That'd be so great. Cheese and I have been finding the music, but I want to open it up to everybody to submit music into it, and I'll play it here on the stream. Why not?
Well, and can I give a shout out to my friend Sean, who's joining us in RRC? He's part of the Open Suse band.
Hello, oh really?
Nice.
Yes,
that's great. Hello, Sean.
great video.
What is it? What does he play in the Seuss band?
Have you seen some of the stuff they've done? Right, their videos and stuff. Like it's that those folks, right?
Oh yeah, I've seen some of the awkward people dancing in their videos too.
Yeah, there's that too.
There's some awkward dancing there.
Well, that's great. Hello, Sean. Thank you for joining us.
That is awesome.
Yeah. So you have to find a few YouTube clips and send them my way, and I'll pull them down on the soundboard. El, we can totally rock out to that. Rock out to the mariachi bands. So I figured one of the things we could do with our Friday stream time is review a few clips of the week from the shows, and then we can talk about them more, expand on them, or riff on them, whatever it might be. And kind of an opportunity to see what JB was talking about this week in one central spot. So, ladies and gentlemen, for your approval, I submit our first clip of the week.
All right, let's start with Anthos. I think that's how you say it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is from Linux Action News, episode 101, talking about Anthos, Google's new cloud product.
It's the new name of the Google Cloud Services platform. And it's not just a rebrand, is it?
It's Google Cloud Services Platform, but not as you know it. Google has decided to give the service a new name, Anthos, but they've also expanded support to AWS and Azure. Yeah, you heard that right. It's competitors. They have decided that the way to win when you're the underdog is by supporting the competition. This will allow enterprises to use a single platform running on Google's cloud to deploy and manage their applications on any other cloud. The advantage really here is that enterprises get a single bill and have a single dashboard to manage all of their applications. And surprise, surprise, it's all powered by Kubernetes.
It's Google's attempt at hybrid cloud, isn't it? Maybe they've been looking over at the IBM Red Hat acquisition, thinking, people don't want to be locked into one particular cloud service provider. They want to be able to hedge their bets a little bit. And this seems like a very good strategy to me. It seems like you can't compete with AWS if you just do the same thing they're doing. You need to do something different. And what better way than to say, hey, you're not totally locked into us, even though I get the feeling that you kind of might be.
Well, I mean, if you get hooked on that nice dashboard sauce, I think you would be. Google says that this is from their Google Cloud CEO, Thomas Corain, I think is how you say his last name. He said that customers are coming to them and saying, Google, please give us an integrated solution that solves this problem. It's too much. And let's be honest, there is probably some truth there because IBM didn't buy Red Hat for no reason at all. Hybrid, integrated, multi-cloud architectures are supposedly the future. Nobody likes themselves some lock-in unless you're the vendor providing integration across all the services, then we'll lock into you. Wes, I complained in this episode of Linux Action News that the name Anthos sounded derivative of Azure and AWS. Now, all of the major cloud providers all have a name that starts with A. I don't know. What do you think of this Anthos news?
I mean, it totally makes sense from a business perspective. I'm kind of surprised that they weren't doing something similar before. It is weird that they've all sort of standardized, but I guess they come up in the yellow pages, just right at the top, right under cloud services. Boom.
The yellow
It doesn't say a lot to me as a name, really. I guess their other one wasn't too much better. Cloud platform services or whatever
Google's
it was.
Name at least in it. You knew it was a Google product.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. But, with Alphabet and everything else, it seems like they're getting away from that.
That's true. That's a good point. I don't know. What do you think, El? What do you think, Cheese? I guess it's early days for Google Cloud, right? Like, if they're going to make this move, they got to make it now, I suppose.
I mean, they need to jump in where they can, I feel. But
yeah,
Anthos, Thanos, I don't
Ooh.
know. I mean, maybe, I mean, of course they got to jump in, right? They're so big that they need to be in the market.
Yeah. You gotta have a friendly name too. In fact, maybe Wes is onto something. Maybe they're hedging their bet that the Google brand name is going to go down in popularity, and so to protect these properties, they got to have a different name for it. Maybe that's
probably. I could see that for sure. Yeah.
Well, in honor of El's guest, Sue Sean, in the chat room, I thought we'd do one more unplanned musical break. We'll just do a little one here. This is Kubernetes, a SUSE musical parody by the folks over at SUSE. You gotta scale real quick. Kubernetes.
Amazing.
That was really amazing.
That was great.
She has an amazing voice. Does she work for SUSE or did they hire her?
I don't. Sounds like most of them are SUSE employees. That's
yeah.
Wow.
Her range is killer, man.
quite the production value in those videos
Yeah.
too.
And Sean's in there rocking the bass too, man.
Isn't that
A
something?
little bit back, there was a killer little bass riff there.
Yeah, nice job, Sean. I mean, that's like the difference between like a half-ass parody and like a seriously good parody. Is like then they close that uncanny gap there. That's pretty impressive,
That'll be my reason to go to SuseiCon to interview the band.
right? No kidding. That would actually be probably.
Play that to a few drunk people. They
Do you
wouldn't even know
need
the difference.
roadies?
You wouldn't know the difference, right? Yeah,
I show up with my
Absolutely.
own
You could
roadie.
pass that off here.
All right. Should we move on? That was fun. Thanks for linking that, Sean. I wouldn't grab that real quick, though. We could include it. All right. Well, let's move on with another clip from the week. This one is from episode 353 of Your Coda Radio program. And Mike proposes a radical suggestion that's going to rock the foundation of our audience. And it's rather simple.
Don't you think there's value, particularly for the audience of this show, to say, you know what, every once in a while, you do have to like run the operating system that your end users are running. And maybe you don't want to like partition your drives because, you know, and NVMe drives are stupidly small most of the time when you get them. And like, if you're running Linux anyway, like honestly, maybe I'm just like too ignorant of the current Linux community, even though I run it every day. I like the GUI apps I use on Linux are all like Electron apps for the most part, right? I mean, obviously Firefox isn't blah, blah, blah. But
Right, but that's just it's either a browser or an Electron app or a terminal. At least
right.
That's basically true for myself as well.
Right. When I'm working in Linux, I'm effectively working in Bash or some other, you know, terminal-esque environment. Maybe we would be wise to consider, let's get all the app compatibility of Windows and still be able to do our work in the environment. Oh, and by the way, like maybe I'm like over-identifying just a little bit because I do have like a Windows application that I sell and support. So it is a huge pain in the ass when I like have to go dig out a Windows laptop.
Yes, no, that's fair.
But I don't know, with you know, with the rise of Electron, with like, I believe, and I know this is like hot take alert, that on the command line, Linux is a superior environment. I wish Mac would get their shit together, but they just won't. I mean, look, I'm going to take a little platform diversion here, but look at like Lutris, which is, I know you know what it is, but for the audience, the cross-platform Play Windows game on Linux app that's now in the Pop! OS store.
We're jumping through all kinds of hurdles to make that stuff work. So are you just proposing we should just switch it up and go the opposite route?
Well, I'm proposing it's a two-horse race, right? That none of that stuff even exists on Mac OS.
So you're right.
You don't even have that option. Where on Linux, yes, you have to jump through the hoops. And I don't know, like, why not have the Windows Action Show and just talk about different versions of the WSL all day? Why not, you know, why don't we all get the Windows logo tattooed on our butts? I mean, I'm just saying.
All right. What I liked about what Mike was saying there is it kind of challenges some of my preconceptions. Like, why don't we have a Windows show? You know?
I mean, I guess there's no reason that we couldn't. Yeah. There's plenty of open source stuff that runs on Windows.
Right.
Yeah.
I was looking through the archives the other day when you guys put out the new website, and I remember seeing Windows Action Show or something similar to that. Is that true?
Yeah, we did do a probably my favorite episode that Brian and I ever did. We did a parody episode where man, the timing was so great because Windows 8 just came out in beta. And it was a hot mess. And so it was a lot of fun to just sit there. And it was an April Fool's episode, and we could just pretend like we were super enthused about Windows when it was obviously a piece of crap. And it was actively failing on camera, on demo. And then we kind of went like next level deep and went like pretend fanboys and like then started justifying why it was running so poorly and why that was totally okay. And I just really enjoyed that. That was good. But that's like a joke you can do once, right? And then it's basically done. But there is maybe some logic to it as, I don't know, maybe more and more developers use Windows to develop web applications and things like that. I don't know. Is there anything interesting on Windows? The Windows subsystem for Linux.
Yeah, all those great Linux things you can run now.
How good is Wes and Mike together on Coda Radio, guys? Huh? Isn't that great? That's super good.
Yeah, they're really good, man.
Really like it.
It's been fun, and you know, I really like, as Mike's been journeying over to, you know, using more Linux and stuff. He brings his own very pragmatic viewpoint, and I like that a lot.
We've got something cool going on right now where we've got Jason, L, and Mike all coming at Linux desktop in different directions, and so they're all discovering different things. And so we're getting like really good internal research on the team right now that is reminding me a lot of what it's like to switch to Linux, because I've been here for so long that I don't have a Windows application that I need to run anymore. I haven't run a Windows application for 10 years, so I don't connect with that as much anymore. And
you're just out of touch, man.
I prefer to use the command line, right? So I don't connect with the effort to try to find a GUI application and stuff like that. But I did at one point, so it's been really good. Al, what's your current Linux setup right now? Are you still on Pop? Have you done the upgrade yet?
I did it over lunch, and it was one of the easiest. I just really enjoyed the experience. I was a little sad there was nothing like celebrating it at Reboot, like with some trumpets or something.
Welcome to 1904.
I would have loved that. Yes, please, next time.
Cool. I'm glad it was painless, though. That's a good sign. It's better that it's a non-event than a big event, I suppose, right?
It was the first time I've ever had an update that was that communicative. You normally you just run it and it just happens, and it just kept kind of telling me what was going on through the process. Like, are you sure you want to do this? Hey, we're going to need a restart. These libraries are going to be updated. Are you sure it's not going to conflict with anything?
Did you like that, or was it too much?
I did, because I really felt like I understood what was going on. And had I had some third-party proprietary thing, I felt that I would have been more educated and known I was about to break my system. So, because it really explained things and was giving you line by line what was going on.
So do you notice anything's snappier? Does the desktop feel any faster?
Not yet. I actually had to pull up the terminal and go and check OS release just to make sure it happened.
Wow, that really is a non-event. Wow. Well, that's good to know.
Trumpets next time, please.
Well, good job for them. I really got to say, congratulations to System 76. That's not an easy thing to pull off. So I think that's good. They pulled out the magic wand on that one. All right. Well, very good. Good to hear that worked, and still making me kind of want to try out Pop! OS after I get through this current XFCE kick I'm on. All right. Speaking of Pop! OS, it got some attention from Linus Tech Tips, and that was one of the subjects of discussion on Linux Unplugged 297.
For Pop! OS and Manjaro, and actually for a number of other distros we didn't cover today, the steps basically boil down to install the OS, install Steam or Lutris, and start playing. That's what makes these distros especially enticing for gamers. But while Manjaro is set up well to cater to gamers out of the box, it's not going to be as stable as a distro like Ubuntu. And that's why Pop! OS and others like it try to bridge that gap with updated drivers while still retaining excellent community support and stable packages, which makes them a good choice for getting your feet wet.
So Emma, I'm curious what System 76 has seen as response to this video.
So we've had thousands of gigabytes of data downloaded. We had, since then, we've had almost 18,000 downloads of Pop! OS. It's very exciting.
Are you seeing higher than average, people sticking around now that the video has been out for a little bit? Like, are the downloads still remaining high?
Yes, we're seeing about 2,000 per day. The first day was about 5,000, and each day after has been 2,000 or more. So,
wow! Congratulations. That is an achievement right there. That is fantastic. And I think, overall, the last few months, I've seen more and more people talking about Pop! OS, using Pop! OS. It's becoming more and more of a well-established distribution.
Well, thank you.
You are almost enticing me, I have to admit.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of effort that's been put in there to tune some things, and I think people are talking about that, and other people are picking it up and be like, "Oh, I want that. Why doesn't my computer do it already?"
Yeah, and I've heard rumors that there'll be a new installer, that the new installer will support CFS soon, and things like that. So there's other advantages that start to make it appealing besides just a few other things, like maybe a new theme or a different way to encrypt the hard drive. But there's other things that are been coming along that really seem like a pretty good innovation, or at least a nice value add in the case like this, easy access to Steam and whatnot that got the attention of the folks over at Linus Tech Tips. I got it. And thank you. And I'm really happy to hear that you guys have gotten some traffic from it. And I'd be curious to know what the Manjaro project has seen, because the Manjaro got a fair amount of mentions. Mm-hmm. They lean Pop! OS though towards the end, and I think for good reason, especially for the type of user.
Yeah, for the video that this and the audience they're aiming for, that's probably the best advice.
But the title, Microsoft should be very worried, all uppercase, very, very worried. That's pretty good. Manjaro got another mention on Linus Tech Tips on one of their latest videos that went out after that other video, where it was something to the effect of run Mac OS on any PC, and they do a GPU pass-through to the virtual machine, and then they install Mac OS in a virtual machine, they dedicate the GPU, they dedicate a USB PCI card to it, and then you run Mac OS via a VM that is GPU accelerated, and they used Manjaro to do it. So Manjaro and Pop! OS getting a lot of love.
Wow.
I guess they hired some Linux guy over there, huh? Should get that guy on the show.
Pop! OS was having some problems earlier too with its CDN in some regions for its ISO downloads. Apparently that's fixed now though across the board. So
Good.
Go help them out by giving it a test install.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. I wonder. Brent, are you on stock Ubuntu? You thinking about giving?
Oh, you know the answer to this.
Have you thought about giving Pop! OS a try?
It's funny that this is all coming up because the other day I found the Pop! OS USB stick that I got at Xmas last year, and it was just on my desk here under a few papers, and I grabbed it and I went, oh yeah, I gotta try that, and I threw it in my my everyday bag. So soon.
I feel like both Manjaro and Pop! OS are crossing another threshold, another echelon. Like they're moving up. Both of them are moving up in the ranks of distributions, getting more recognition, more usage. What does it all mean?
I use Manjaro on an old 2-in-1 Dell 2-in-1.
Yeah, I'm thinking
like a 3000 series.
I'm thinking I got to give it a go with my new taste for XFCE. Why don't I just try it? Because everybody says Manjaro's got one of the best XFCE desktops out there.
And that's what I'm actually using on that old Dell.
And would you agree? Would you say it's one of the
XPS? But yeah, I mean, even for that little 2-in-1, the touchscreen support, I mean, works fine out of the box. Haven't had any problems. Whereas other distros, you would have issues where the screen would rotate, and so you'd have to go back in and get that sorted out. But out of the box, XFCE spin of Manjaro has worked flawless.
Good. All right, that's a good plug. I'll give it.
It's been a while since you've been rolling there, Chris.
I know.
It might be a fun ride.
That's what I was thinking. Is I do love it. I do really love it. You know it. And then do you get the AUR with Manjaro?
I don't. I mean, why wouldn't you?
I would think so, right?
I mean,
you just install, the packages that work with it, and you're off to the races.
Jeez.
Hello to you.
It's nice.
Yeah. Chris, the reason that I'm on a rolling release is your fault. So ever since you got off, I've still been on. So.
Oh, really? You. Oh, okay. Okay. I guess I'm
doing the Antergos thing.
Right.
You and Brown Bear were really into it.
Right. Still, I mean, honestly, it's still pretty great. It really is.
How long have you been on that one install, Brent?
This would be, I think it's like a year and a half would be my best guess.
That's pretty good.
Wow.
And there's been, there's been a few little things here and there as you need to do, I suppose, is the normal thing with some Arch-based systems.
Little fixes here and there.
Yeah, and that's my experience with rolling releases too. I a little while ago ran Linux Mint Debian Edition. Oh yeah, that was my first sort of adventure into the rolling because I love the concept. But it seems to me there's always a little bit of maintenance you got to do from time to time just to make sure there's some changes that they make that they just can't do on your end that you have to do manually. But other than that, it's been fabulous having sort of the Arch-based system makes sure that I have the newest software pretty darn quick, within days that stuff comes out. So it's a real pickle between having the newest and greatest and dealing with these little problems here and there. But I don't see myself changing anytime soon. So
awesome, dude.
Yeah, that is. All right. Well, this is the point in the show. There's no avoiding it. We got to talk about BSD.
And we're back with a regular episode for you this week, as promised. And the first item that we have this week is a Pi-powered Plan 9 cluster. Ooh.
Yes. So this is a 4-node cluster for experimenting with distributed operating systems and running Plan 9. I didn't know you could run Plan 9 on ARM.
Apparently they made it work.
Yep. Plan 9 is a development OS from Bell Labs back in the day when they were... after they had done Unix, they were thinking, how would we do Unix differently if we were to do it over again? But it came from the same stable as Unix, which of course is what Linux was then designed to try to be like and what OS X runs on top of. Just like Unix, Plan 9 was developed as a research OS, a vehicle for trying out new concepts, but with building on key Unix principles and taking the ideas of devices or just files even further. To create a socket on Plan 9, you actually just create a file in this special directory with its the IP address you want to connect to, the port you want to connect to, etc. And by creating that file, it opens a socket, and then you read and write to that file and so on. It's kind of interesting. So anyway, in the post, they take a quick look at the Plan 9 OS and some of its notable features before moving on to how to construct a self-contained 4-node Raspberry Pi cluster that would actually let them play with using it as a distributed operating system.
Okay. And there's pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Pi clusters we've seen already, but with Plan 9, that is something new.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they got a nice housing for it and got it all hooked up. Pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they even got the embossed Plan 9 mascot.
The logo, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, well, if you want to run this for longer, then you might as well have it present somewhere that people can see it.
And the most important question was, why? They say, you might be thinking, but why would you want to build such a thing? And the possible answer for each include because you can. In this case, while Plan 9 may not be destined for world domination, it is fascinating from an operating system engineering perspective. And as previously noted, ideas taken from it have gone on to be implemented elsewhere.
Fascinating. I picked that clip because that's like something only the BSD Now program would talk about. And it's so cool. Like Plan 9 is really cool. Don't know anything about it. Run it on Raspberry Pis. Super cool. Don't know how you do it. And doing it in a cluster. Super even cooler. Don't know how you do that either. And that's a perfect example of the BSD Now program in a nutshell right there. I don't know what the hell Plan 9 is, other than it looks great. It looks great.
It's a Unix clone, apparently.
Apparently. Look through some fans in the chat room. So, that's all that matters.
It's a fascinating operating system. They developed some, took some of the ideas from Unix and really took them in a whole other direction all their own.
Is it like one of those like BIOS type gems that was kind of a brilliant design but just never really took off?
No, it seemed like it was more of a research operating system in many respects. So I don't know that world domination was ever necessarily a goal.
Just a research project. Interesting. I had a chance to chat with one of my fellow VPs at Linux Academy. His name's Terry Cox, and he's Elle's former boss. Elle, you should say something super embarrassing about Terry. No, I'm kidding.
No, come on. He's the arch villain in my containers talk, remember?
Yeah, he's good for that too. And so, I won't spoil too much. I'll just say I had been really looking forward to chatting with Terry on the show, and so I finally had a chance to do it, and I thought, let's throw it in the Friday stream. Now, there is one individual when I joined Linux Academy that I knew immediately I wanted to win over, and that was Terry Cox. Not because I knew that in a fight he would be a great ally, but because I knew this man understood the fight to make content, the challenge. And so I've been looking for an excuse to chat with him for a long time, and I eventually just couldn't come up with one.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Vice President of Content at Linux Academy, Terry Cox.
Hey, Chris, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good. So Terry he was one of the original training architects at Linux Academy, and now, Terry, you run the team.
I do. I've been around for a day or two now. Most of your audience, if they're members of Linux Academy, have probably heard my voice. But yeah, we've got about 36 full-time training architects that work on my team that develop all the content that you hear and see on Linux Academy right now.
Did you wait a minute? Did you say 36?
That's correct.
You're going to take over the company, Terry. That's amazing.
I believe I've got somewhere in the neighborhood of 45 to 50 people in the organization that I lead.
Oh, man. Well, thanks for taking the time to chat then, because I'm sure you're a busy guy. In fact, I was going to ask you, I've done a few of the live streams now, and I've noticed that you've got a bit of a reputation amongst the students. And I'm curious now, somebody who, like you say, has been doing this for a few days, what is it about what you're doing that you think causes a following? Is it Is it something about you? Is it your style? Is it the training that you're doing? What do you think it is that causes sort of a cult following?
I think it's a combination of things, but the training obviously is probably the largest component. But I like to think that I brought a little bit of enthusiasm and personality to the training. I enjoy very much what I was doing in creating content and working with our student community and seeing how what I'm doing helps them to be successful, whether that's promotions or getting a new job, or in some cases even staying in the country when contracts ended. So I'd like to think that some of that comes through, and a little bit of personality that I interject. Used to put questions that are related to what I would call nerd culture within my videos and see who responded to them. So yeah, I got a little bit of a following over time.
And it's sort of, now that I wonder if you're taking on more management, do you feel like you're losing connection with that a little bit? Is that do you miss that aspect of the job more now that you're kind of in charge of a team and less direct hands-on with the courseware?
I do miss that a little bit, being a little bit more visible, interacting directly about content that I've created with the student community. But I will tell you that it's been extremely gratifying to scale the team to the point where we can just create so much of the content that everybody's looking for. When I was doing content, we were less than a third of the size that we are now. We've just scaled tremendously over the last 12 months. And I have so many open positions right now. We're going to continue to scale over the coming year in 2019.
What are the main positions you have open right now? Do you want to give them a plug?
Oh gosh, please! I'm looking for training architects for Azure, for AWS, for Google, for Linux. There's lots of exciting Linux stuff coming out, and with the Red Hat 8 going to come out of beta at some point, all of that'll be refreshed. So I'm sure you guys are going to have a lot of stuff to talk about there as well.
Oh yeah.
We want to cover Ubuntu specifically and a lot deeper than we have in the past. And containers and Kubernetes always continue to be a big deal for us. So we've got container positions open, and we just started introducing more programming-like courses, like Introduction to Python, which is currently our number one started course on Linux Academy, which is amazing to me. So we're going to start recruiting some additional training architects for doing programming as well.
Jeez. I mean, the scale at which it is now. I mean, when you started doing the original training material that you worked on, I mean, there was a lot of areas. AWS obviously was a big presence, so it wasn't like the cloud didn't exist, but you just look at the numbers you're scaling up your team size to, it seems like the market is just rapidly expanding, and there's so many areas now that people need to train up in. I don't know. Do you have any context for what it is compared to what it was even 4 or 5 years ago?
So yeah, when I started doing content for Linux Academy, I was actually the only other person other than Anthony that was working on the site. But even when I started full time just a little over 3.5 years ago, there were 5 of us. And now we're somewhere in the neighborhood of 125, I believe, as of this morning.
Mm-hmm.
So the training architects are obviously a good portion, almost 25% of the entire organization. So, we've got a lot of stuff to do, and it's being driven by, even on the open source side, everybody's getting into certifications, and even more so, the accelerated refresh necessary to keep on top of the latest versions and changes to cloud consoles and new versions that are coming out. So we're in a constant state of, we've got new stuff we've got to do, but then we've got to maintain and refresh the stuff that we've already done so that it continues to be valuable.
Yeah, that seems like when you talk about the amount of content you're creating, you almost open yourself up to a knee-jerk criticism that is, well, if you're making so much content, then obviously you must be skimping on the quality, or the old stuff must be suffering. That has to be not only a constant battle, but it must be a hard criticism to hear constantly.
It is, and it's one of the reasons that we are scaling as quickly as we can, because I'm not going to speak specifically about competition. Competition exists in every industry, and we certainly have our competition. One of the things that we try to do is we have so many components that go into courses that we have got the labs and interactive diagrams and videos and flashcards and exams, etc. Not everybody has all of those components, and we've got all of them in single courses. So we typically are not going to be first to market for something that's brand new. we take longer to create those content components at a high level of quality, and we care so much about the success of our students, we absolutely refuse to hurry the process along, because the success of our students is what drives what we do. So if that means that somebody comes out with something quicker than us and it's a 4 or 5 hour course, they were able to make the announcement before we are. But when we announce our courses for cloud certifications, for example, they're 15, 20, 25, 30 hour courses with dozens of hands-on labs and things that help people be successful. So that's a little bit challenging on our part to hear those criticisms that we're not keeping things up to date or refreshing them fast enough. We're absolutely scaling to do the best job that we can as quick as we can.
Yeah, I've seen it. Like all complex fields of work, you can't fully grasp how much work it is until you've been in the trenches doing it.
Absolutely. We ask a lot of our training architects, and they have to be not only experts in their field, but experts in the tools that help relate what it is they're trying to get across to the students in an efficient, scalable manner. So that can be an additional skill set that we need from our training architects, and it just takes some time.
And for yourself, it sort of means becoming a different kind of boss or manager as your team grows to meet the demand. So like you have to keep going through some version of iteration yourself.
I do. And in fact, we're constantly doing roadmap discussions because the velocity of change in technology in general requires that. We couldn't possibly set an entire roadmap and lock it down 3 months or more ahead of time, as much as we might like to be able to do that, simply because we have to maintain the agility and the flexibility to react to announcements as they come out. Mm-hmm. And it's unfortunate, but we're not generally in any better of a position to know what's coming until it does come out. On the open source side, we get a little bit more of a heads up because it's open source. There's a lot more discussion about it. But unless we get a heads up kind of on the sly for a lot of certifications, particularly in the cloud space, we know when you know.
Yeah, they're moving fast. And so it's been, even since I've joined the team, it's been interesting to watch Linux Academy adapt to, I think content velocity is a good phrase. So when I first started, it was they were doing live stream announcements of the content, and there were some live stream issues. So I contacted Anthony and I said, hey, I think I could help with this. And, we did a few of those. We just did them up until this quarter. And then we had a sit down and we said, there is so much stuff that we're making now that the way we even announce it has to change. The way we even tell the students about it has to change, because it's just from where Terry sits, from where marketing sits, all the way up to where the CEO sits. Like, we have to constantly adapt and change as the scope of what we're doing grows. That means... in a way, Terry, like, you have to be both the rock and also totally okay with change. Like, that's a really weird dichotomy.
It is, and I think scaling, as you mentioned, drives so much of that. When we did our first set of streaming announcements, I believe we announced 15 courses over the course of a month's time, and at this quarter, it's over 30. So we've doubled that. So if we continue to do those live streams, we'd have to provide such little information about each of those to get through them that it makes, I think, a lot more sense for everybody to bite it off in weekly chunks. Yep. Which I really like the streaming format that Anthony is using right now in particular. And we've just got a lot of content that was just done in the first quarter that is actually going to be public here shortly, but we'll be announcing it over the coming weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're doing really quick, easy to watch weekly updates. Go to youtube.com/LinuxAcademyCom. And if you subscribe there, you'll get the weekly update where all the content that they can cover is getting in there. And of course, you can also just log into the platform, go over to the advanced search area, sort by release date, and take a look chronologically what's come out. It's pretty impressive. You guys are really cranking it out, Terry. My hat's off to you. I know what it takes to make content at that scale, and it's damn impressive to me. I really respect it. That's why I've been wanting to get you on here for so long, because I really kind of, from a content standpoint, have so much respect for what you guys are cranking out at the pace you're doing it, and at which the what's the way to put it? Like, I put something out on YouTube and I get a few hecklers in the comments, right? But this is a whole nother scale of scrutiny that your stuff's under. So it's a whole nother scale.
It is, because all of our students have the ability to rate all of our content, give it a thumbs up and a thumbs down. And if you give it a thumbs down, you have the ability to let us know why you gave it a thumbs down. And more importantly, we react to all of that feedback. If you give us a rating, you're going to get a response from the training architect or one of our CSMs that's going to either offer the explanation, answer your question, and in some cases, as much as we would like not to ever make a mistake, sometimes we do and we have to make a correction. Or something needs an update, and we'll go through and we'll provide that information. We'll make those updates, and then we respond to all of that feedback. But that you can give us a thumbs up and a thumbs down on videos, on labs, on individual exam questions. So you can pretty much rate anything that you'd like.
I'm just envisioning for every nasty Reddit or YouTube comment that the podcast get, we would have to create an in-house ticket and then assign a staff member to like address that comment. Couldn't imagine, Terry. Couldn't imagine.
I won't go into numbers, but it's a lot, and it isn't because we get it's because we give access to the training architects. A lot of times we get a rating that is somebody just wants to ask a question, and it has nothing to do with the content, but they know that we will respond to it, which is why it happens.
Of course. Yeah, there's things like the community Slack and of course the community discourse where training architects participate as well. So there are other avenues, but it makes sense that they would figure that out. Well, Terry, thank you for chatting with me. I know you've got a lot to do. Terry Cox is the Vice President of Content at Linux Academy, and they are cranking stuff out. And to celebrate, right now, there's a $299 yearly promo. If you go to linuxacademy.com and sign up, you can get a great deal. Lock that price in. There's not a lot of promos these days, so that's a great one to take advantage of, especially as tons of new, updated, and brand new content is rolling out. Terry, thank you. Oh! It's Friday stream. What do you think? That Terry Cox is a nice guy.
Yes, he is.
At least I've always had good interactions with, good experiences with him.
You know, I haven't talked to him since I've started there at Linux Academy, but I did win some stuff from his trivia at Texas Linux Fest last year.
Nice, yeah. Interesting. All right, the last clip of the week, and this is Jason, and I'm not alone. He's really liking XFCE too. I don't know what's going on.
Until now, I had sort of mistaken light and efficient for
ugly.
It's ugly, but hey, it's going to breathe life back into your old hardware. But it breathed new life into my fairly newer hardware. And what I'm stuck with now, and again, I'll have to say, you bastard, I was perfectly happy with GNOME. I was perfectly happy with Pop! OS 1810. And now I'm honestly considering a switch to Manjaro XFCE because of this experience.
I'm right there with him. It's just something about you get to a point where you just want your computer to just be a tool that just is as efficient as possible, and you throw XFCE on there and you spend a couple of minutes setting it up, and then you've got a menu, you've got a quick launch, you've got a task switcher, you've got a file manager, and you got a terminal. Like, you're good to go, and you're using a fraction of the memory. And this code just seems to be simpler, and everything launches faster. So I've just really loved it. I should have known. I just hate that Joe was right all along. You know, that's really what gets me crazy. Is it means like this whole year he's been telling me to switch to XFCE. He was right. And Wes, I think we should put it here in the studio.
Yeah, I have no objections. XFCE, I was a long-time user after the first start of the Unity days when Ubuntu first made that switch. I needed somewhere to go, and XFCE was my home for a long time then.
Yeah, I just resisted it because it felt like, I did that 10 years ago. You know? I did that. Well,
yeah. But the nice part is, it's just gotten better, and you can still come home.
I just like how easily customizable it is.
Joe
themable.
Is a bastard. Joe's a bastard. I can't believe you. I mean, how did you manage to get both Jason and I at the same time? What do you think? How did that happen?
I put something in the water.
I know you are very precious about your water, so I could believe it. Wow. Yeah, I hate it. But it does seem like it would make perfect sense for the studio machines. Not that Plasma's really been much of an issue. It's just, like right now, on the OBS machine, I was a little concerned before we went live because 85% of our memory is in use right now on the OBS machine. And I went to go, okay, so what's using so much memory? And what is it? What is the actual process called? Let me see. Let me tell you. I'll pull it up right now. Beep, 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 beep. Yeah. So the process is Plasma Shell, and it is using 1.4 gigs of RAM right now, which is interesting because earlier it was using 399 megabytes when I looked at it. So it's gone up. And OBS itself is also using 1.6 gigs of RAM right now. So we got a lot of memory usage going on the OBS machine, and I'm just thinking, I don't know, I could take that off. Maybe put XFCE on there.
I'm using 1.4 gigabytes at the moment, and I've got Mumble open, Firefox with a few tabs, text editor, some other stuff. So,
I was willing to buy a machine with a lot of RAM. I mean, I run Electron apps, I'll dedicate.
Yeah, that's always the other option, right? We just keep adding more.
That's what I figured. I'll get a laptop with 32 gigabytes of RAM. But it doesn't necessarily make the interface faster. Like, just having more RAM, okay, so I'm not paging, but it doesn't make the animations faster. It doesn't make the applications launch faster. If you weren't running out of RAM before, it doesn't, having even more RAM doesn't make it faster. So it really is, it comes to a point where it's got to be the software itself. Well,
and the only issue that I had was screen tearing. And as soon as I mentioned that on Choose Linux this week, I've had a couple of members of the community, the listeners, get in touch. And where did they point me to fix it? The Arch Wiki, of course.
So what is it?
And sure enough, it's fixed it.
Oh, really? What was the cause?
Well, I don't know what the cause is, but the solution is to add something to the xorg.conf folder. Just create a file in there with various things in it. I just blindly copy-pasted it. Nice. Restarted, and it worked.
Huh. Was it something to do with VSync or something? Do you remember?
Well, there's various causes of it. I think that your mileage is going to vary depending on what system you've got. But on my All Intel one, it was just a case of, I can't even remember what it's called now. It's just like it's some option that involves screen tearing or something, and it just miraculously worked.
All right. Well, if I run into that, I'll know what to dig around for then. That's good. I haven't actually seen any tearing yet, but I suppose I haven't done any video games yet, but I have done like full screen terminals and stuff with text flying by and stuff. Didn't see any tearing.
Well, I noticed mostly on videos when there's a pan shot from left to right or right to left. That's when you really notice it.
Yeah, well,
it's kind of different on each system.
X is classically bad at that. That might not just be an XFCE thing. X is bad. That's one of the things Wayland is supposed to help with.
Well, yeah, but I have tested the same hardware with the same version of Ubuntu with Mate, Plasma, XFCE, and they all handle it slightly differently, and the way they kind of blur is a little bit different. But XFCE is definitely the worst for tearing, at least in the default state. But I think that something the Manjaro do might be different. I don't know. I've only just started to investigate this over the last day or so I need to do some kind of a deep dive on it and see exactly what's going on. And I think it might be different for NVIDIA and AMD cards and stuff. So yeah, it's kind of on my to-do list. If I didn't have a million things to do before coming over there, then I'd probably have managed it by now.
Fascinating.
Yeah, you know what? You should join us in the studio next Friday for the Friday stream.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And maybe Tuesday for LUP as well before I fly out.
That'd be cool. Do you know what time you have to fly out?
I think the flight is 7, so it's going to be tight.
Yeah, it might be. You might be able to start, and then head out. I don't know. What do you think, Wes?
Yeah, hopefully.
This should be doable, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, because we get started at 2, so there's definitely some time.
Yeah, I think so. Cool. Well, I guess anybody else have anything for the class before we go this week? Cheese or Al, you guys have anything you want to share with the group before we skedaddle this week? Friday stream.
No.
This Friday.
Have a good week. Have a good weekend. Enjoy yourself.
Hello to you.
Oh, I'm going to get a lot of use out of that one. I really like that a lot. All right. Well, let's see. Let's go around the L. Plug your Twitter handle there before you get out of here.
At L_O_punk. At LOPunk.
And Angela is at Angers Cheese. Plug your Twitter handle.
It's CHZBACON.
All right. Bacon. Nice. And what about you, Joe?
I'm at Joe Ressington.
And you, Wes?
I'm at Wes Payne.
And I'm at Chris LES. The network is at Jupiter Signal. We'll be live next Friday with more clips, but maybe not. I mean, we're going to have so many people in studio, we might just hang out. So that's really what I set this whole thing up for, was really for that. And then I figure if people really like it, after Linux Fest, we might keep it going. But we'll just take the temperature. and see where things go. But join us next Friday. You can go to jupiterbroadcasting.com/calendar to get that converted to your local time. We'll do it at jblive.tv. And the IRC room is irc.geekshed.net, # Jupiter Broadcasting. Or you can go to jblive.tv, and we got it embedded over there. Also, pro tip, bit.ly/JupiterChat. All right, see you back here next Friday.